This podcast is recorded on Gadigal land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hey chicks, I'm Al.
And I'm Sal.
And this is Two Broke Chicks, the show that shares life lessons and tips to help make you rich in life. And how's everyone's long weekend? Going to from the post-long weekend.
I know.
Does everyone have the scaries? Does everyone feel renewed? Did everyone eat lots of chocolate?
I hope so.
I know you did.
Oh, absolutely.
On that note, we are going to be talking about the mini glow-ups that improve your week. You chicks know we love cheeky little glow-up, cheeky little refresh.
And so do you chicks.
But before we get into that, of course, we have to discuss our obsessions of the week. We're recording this on a Wednesday because obviously long weekend vibes. So I'm like, the week hasn't even happened. I'm like, what am I obsessed with? But I'm going to throw it to you first.
You're like, on that
So, on the sinking sand of the ship that we are on.
sinking sand of the ship. I love it. I feel like the coffee table book is just growing and growing. But my obsession of the week is some very good news, I think, for everyone in Australia. And it's that the succulent Chinese meal meme has been memorialised forever because that speech has been added to Australia's National Film and Sound Archive.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I love him.
I know. And he did pass away, but so what a great opportunity to memorialise.
What a great way to remember an Australian icon. For all those who don't recall, there was a very, very viral YouTube video that had a man who was wrongly arrested in a bar. They thought he was like the head of some mob.
Yeah.
Or like drug cartel in Australia. And so he's in this like Chinese restaurant, absolutely pissed.
I was going to say, I think he indulged in a couple of bevies.
Absolutely sloshed as the king he is. And they go in and this like FBI SWAT team go and get this man and drag him out. And then the cameras are there because they think it's this big operation, but they've got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And so they pull out this older gentleman and he's going, "What is the charge? Eating a meal? Eating a succulent Chinese meal?" And then they're like, and then he did say in an interview later on like 60 Minutes, he was like, "Oh, I started just like being a dickhead just for the sake of it." And he goes, "Oh, look at the headlock on this one." Because like the police have him. And then he's going, "Get your hands off my penis."
It is just so unhinged and iconic.
So chaotic. And in the interview, he goes, "No one had their hand on my penis. No.
Yeah, he was just fucking with them because he knew that he had been wrongly arrested.
Yeah.
So he was like, what is going on? And I don't know why it was filmed, but I'm so glad it was.
Oh.
Now it's a piece of Australian history.
Truly an Australian history. I would put that like above the bin chicken.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. We've got so many good iconic like moments out of Australia like that.
Yeah,
like
100%.
They came bounding over. Those twins who are essentially us.
Yeah.
Wow. They'll be next.
Seriously, like Australian culture is so like cooked. It's not even funny. They're like drop bears.
I know.
Like we're so unserious.
That's why I love
many things.
Heartbreak High, because I feel like that was one of the only shows I've seen recently
actually
that
tapped into it. Like
tapped into it and captured
the
it.
Eshe Gabbering. The guy with the sign.
Yeah, the Newtown guy with the sign, like the Rage music video. So good.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
My obsession of the week is, as you know, I have my peaks and valleys of like at-home beauty. But I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that. Or yeah, I'll do that. Because I just can't be bothered to. It comes from one, a cost-efficient point of view. And then also the fact that I'm like, I can't be fucked to leave my house and go sit somewhere for 2 hours. Can't be bothered to go sit and do my nails for 2 hours in a salon. Can't be bothered to go get my eyebrows done for 2 hours. Sit in a salon. Like, I just want to be at home watching telly.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, I bought these lash extensions off Amazon and they're 10 out of 10. I'm not saying they're good for my lashes because I'm sure they're probably not. Like, I don't think lash extensions are good for your lashes, but I'm like, what's up? Peace up, A-Town.
Pick your battles.
Exactly. But they were literally $15 for these like cluster lash extensions that you put on like a little Bond mascara thing on your lashes, and then you just stick them on as if you're putting on fake lashes, and then use a sealant, and bada bing, bada boom, you've got lash extensions. It took me 15 minutes.
Yeah, they look so good.
Like it literally was so quick to do it, and you get such a huge pack, and especially with like, you know, the price that I have paid in the past for lash extensions, and I feel like I was really able to customize it to like how I like them. I was like, Bob's your uncle.
It is such an individual thing.
Because sometimes I feel like I did come out looking like Cindy Lou Who, which
Always loved that.
I know you love that, but there's a time and a place for Cindy Lou.
It's true.
On that note, let's get into our mini glow-ups. So before we get into the episode, I wanted to talk about this really interesting theory that I came across in my research, in the research. And it's kind of why mini glow-ups are really good to put into your week, because they restructure your perception and your feeling of the week that you had. And it's called the peak end rule. You're going to love this. So the peak end rule is a hack to basically have a good week every week, or a good day every day, or a good month, like a certain period of time that when you look back, you go, yeah, that was a good vibe. So the peak end rule states that when we look back at an event or an experience, our recollections and opinions are heavily influenced by what happened at its peak intensity and at the end. Right? So for example, like let's say if we were going to do a day, and that day at work you had to have a meeting with like a colleague that's really rude and you don't like them, and then on the way home you miss the train or your bus. Right?
Combo.
Right? So then you're at home and you're like, oh, I just had the worst day. I had this like confrontation with the colleague that I don't like, and then I missed the bus on the way home. You would then chalk the rest of like that day up to not being a good day, when 90% of the rest of the day was actually fine or even good, because our memories also form like a large part of our behavior. And of course, negative experiences are a part of that, because that's also what like teaches our brain to be like, no, we don't like that. Let's not do that again. Or like when that happens again, this is how I'm going to do that differently. So I'm not saying like, let's just erase all negative experiences.
You have to miss the bus and be like, yay!
Yeah, or being like, okay, like maybe I will organize myself a little bit earlier, whatever it is, right? But we can also reframe this theory to use it in a positive lens and kind of like hack our weeks, essentially. So by strategically placing peaks, aka micro glow-ups or mini glow-ups, with intention during and at the end of our weeks, we can basically look back comfortably and consciously and be like, yeah, I had a good week. So you don't need to have the perfect day every day. You just need to have a positive peak and a good ending. And that's like, I thought that was just so interesting. And I was talking to a friend yesterday who had like a really rough day. Like she just had a shit day. And I was like, look, sometimes you just have to blame it on the moon and be like, that one was not good.
Yeah.
And have a foul mood.
What was that?
Right. But then I'm like, then I sang to her, but I was like, but tomorrow or the next day, like maybe go out with like her boyfriend and go get ice cream at that place that you really wanted to go to. And then on Sunday, do something really fun. So that way it's like you can kind of try to make a different peak than she had.
Yeah, exactly. Like the biggest thing of the week wasn't the bad thing that happened.
It was a purposeful, positive thing that you were like, all right, this bad thing happened, so I need to actually make a different peak. I need to reset something or make something else happen and ensure that I end my Sunday with like a positive thing. So that way when I do my rule of thumb theory and I look at the week in general, I'm looking at my peak and my end in a positive lens. And again, that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes the moon's just mooning.
It's mooning you.
The moon is mooning you and being like,
yeah, chucking up deuces.
Yeah,
and dropped its stacks.
Yeah, have fun with that one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the moon's like, I'm an ethereal creature. I never did that.
Do you know when I say goodnight to the moon?
Cute.
When I get into bed, I go, night moon.
And give it a little kiss.
I don't know if that started from like the bear in the big blue house.
That's who I was imagining.
But
And that's why I was like, no, it
love-
wouldn't be mooning us because she was so sweet.
Yeah, I love saying good night to the moon. That's like a little whimsy thing that I do.
Oh, I love
Every day.
that. Witchy poo.
And like sometimes I don't do it out loud. Like if Rob's in the bed, I just like look at the moon and I'm like,
give it a little.
okay. So, Sal, hit me. What's your first mini glow up to improve your week?
Become a good conversationalist. Oh my God. Don't you reckon that a lot of the time when we're having convos during the week, whether it's like with our work friends or even with our partners when you get home or the barista, it's just the same chat over and over and you sometimes get stuck in a loop of asking the same questions.
So we have like a Rolodex of the same questions in adulthood and we also have a Rolodex of the same answers.
Yeah.
Like being busy is basically a personality trait, which I do that all the time. I always go, fuck no, I shouldn't say that.
I know. I had that realization the other day that I'm like, that's always my go-to.
Yeah, being
And
like,
I'm
oh, busy.
with work. And I'm like, that's so boring.
So boring.
Like, or at least elaborate. Like, say what you've been busy with. Like,
Oh,
we're working on this.
This is happening, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like reframe it to be something a bit more interesting and also something that someone can engage with, which is one of the mini glow ups. Well, that is part of the mini glow up and how to be a good conversationalist and get out of that habit that I think a lot of us are stuck in, which I don't know if it's because that's just something that happens as you grow up and you're like tired, takes a lot of effort to put into convo, or if because we spend so much more time now like chatting online and via digital mediums. But there was this really interesting Substack published by Bella Dane and the article was titled The Art of Conversation. And she talked about how to make great conversation in the modern era. So some of the I'll link the whole article in the show notes so you chicks can have a read. But some of the key takeaways was letting go of the idea that you need to say a lot. In a conversation with people, the more that you're speaking and taking on the conversation, the less you're retaining. So it's like you're sort of just focused on the things that you're saying and what you're going to say next rather than actually listening to what the other person is saying. And because do you ever feel the pressure to like fill in the silence?
Yes.
Yeah, right? And like that you always have to have like a response or a question or something. But it's like you're not actually giving yourself the space to think of something that you actually want to ask or say. It's more like an expectation that you put on yourself rather than letting the conversation flow. And then so part of that is letting people talk about themselves. A lot of us, I think, in a conversation will talk and then we feel like we need to be like, oh, that happened to me and like jump in with
and it is like a
story.
relatability thing.
A lot of us jump in and we'll be like, oh my God, I know that happened to me or that reminds me of this because we're trying to relate to the person. But then it means that you're not actually paying attention to what they're saying. I think, of course, you can still jump in, but wait until they've finished their story because people do love to talk about themselves, but you have to give them the chance. So if you know that like that is your tendency and that maybe you'll get excited and jump in those moments, maybe try and be a little bit more present and be like, I'll hold on to that thought. And once they finish, then I can jump in and be like, oh my God, same. And like actually engage in that conversation with them. Asking more interesting and intentional questions.
See, how do we do that?
Well, what do you genuinely want to know? So like if you're asking like, what are you doing this weekend? And somebody tells you like, oh, I'm going to see my cousin so-and-so. Be like, oh, where do they live? What do they do? Like blah, blah. Like actually ask follow-up questions to have more of a conversation rather than just leaving it there.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's like, oh, just chilling at home, you can be like, oh, well, what are you watching? Are you reading anything at the moment? Or I need a new podcast to listen to. Do you have any recs for me? And like actually have some of those follow-up questions kind of prepared in your mind. Because I think a lot of people as well, they also have those go-to responses being like, nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't really go anywhere off of them. But if you're genuinely interested in what they're doing, having some of those follow-up questions ready to go can extend the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't go on autopilot. So, when people ask, how are you? And you're always just like, fine. Like actually say how you're feeling.
I also think it's okay to like also sometimes like the best conversations are the ones you don't have. Like it's sitting in silence and like spending time with people. Because I think part of the reason why conversations and maybe we're not as good conversationalists is the fact that we always feel like we have to have a conversation. So when you're always talking to someone, and I think it's a lot of the catch up conversation, like one of my long distance friends that it's now so easy to talk to is because we just don't actually even talk about our lives. Like we don't go, how's work? How's your partner? How's this going on? We're talking about like the most random things that we've seen online. And there's this thing that you can have in relationships called anchors.
Yeah.
And so it's about like common interests that you can use to fuel your conversations rather than relying on someone's life or anything to be going on to be the source of conversation. Because a lot of the time people are really tired and they're like, what is going on in my life? Like what, I don't really know, because they've been on autopilot, they've been in their head, work is crazy. And so they're like, oh, busy. Or I know I feel this, that sometimes like I don't want to talk about my life because I'm like, I just lived that day. And I'm like, I can't be bothered to like talk about that marketing meeting or whatever that data thing I need to work on is. I'm like, that's boring.
Yeah.
So having anchors in friendship actually are conversation fuelers that you can rely on to stimulate conversation that actually has nothing to do with anyone. So that way you don't fall into that trap of being like, oh yeah, that thing happened to me. And then you're going, oh, I actually wasn't, okay. I hadn't finished my story. So for example, like we love RuPaul's Drag Race. So we'll talk about like what happened that week on RuPaul's Drag Race. Or, you know, one of the chicks that works with us on the pod, we both love Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And we've been really diving into that every week. And I'm like, that is just the easiest thing to, and have such a fun, engaging conversation with someone. Or if you both love the same type of books, like you can talk about that. Like find anchors within your friendships to help center and fuel conversations beyond being like, how was your week? I'm not saying don't ask how was your week, because that's also important to know, but I can't be asked to like go on and backtrack like what I did for the last 7 days, because I'm like, I already did that. I'm moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm past that. I don't even know. I can't tell you what I had for dinner last night. I can. It was pasta. But
it's always a safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also then gives you the motivation to, if it is tied to a show or a book or whatever it is, like every week, you know, on like a Sunday morning, you would have watched RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's the time that you'll be like, okay,
what did you think?
What did you think?
Yeah.
Because it, especially with friends like that you don't get to see in person all the time. And then exactly like you said, those questions about how was your week or how was this thing, like I know you had this interview, those will come in naturally as well, but then you also have a mutual interest that you can talk about. I saw on TikTok this chick was saying that she does this thing with her friends called Waffle Wednesdays.
Oh, I think we've chatted about this on the pod before.
And they send each other just like voice notes or like Wednesday is that anchor day for them, and they'll just like use it to talk about whatever they want, but they know it's basically when they're exchanging their weekly podcasts with each other, which I think is a really cute idea too. But on that note about like the pressure to have conversation, when you are having a conversation with someone, also remember that you can take a breath before you respond, and that there's allowed to be dead air in a conversation. You don't have to like jump in with the first thing that springs to your mind because you feel like it's going to be awkward or the pressure to keep it flowing. Like take a breath and remember that you can take a moment to actually collect your thoughts so that you can ask those intentional questions or whatever is going to propel a more meaningful conversation.
Yeah. And I do think that's helpful reminders because like as someone with like a bit of a sparkly brain, a lot of those things are not necessarily things that, you know, everyone notes or thinks of. Like,
or can control. Really.
Yeah. Like a lot of people that are neurodivergent, their way of having conversations and relating to people is telling a story about themselves. Or when they get excited, they do interrupt people when they're talking. And I don't think that makes them, you know, a bad conversationalist. I know that's not what you're saying either.
Yeah.
But it's just also finding the ways to kind of make conversations more fun and less routine.
In terms of integrating this into your weekly rituals, also bookending your day with check-ins in a relationship. So if it is with your partner or your roommate or even like your sister, if you guys don't live together, ask questions at the end of every day, even if it is the same one. Like, what was your peak and pit of today?
Yeah,
or what
your
was your
highlight of the day. Yeah.
or like, what are you grateful for today? Whatever you want to do. Or even just like my sister and I say good night and good morning to each other every single day. And sometimes we'll talk to each other throughout the day and ask each other questions or give each other updates. But at the bare minimum, we always say good morning and good night.
That's so cute. Good night, Moon. Okay, my next mini glow up to improve your week is the leave the house better rule. So this is the one rule to make your life feel like 10 times more together, and it literally takes 2 minutes, and it's less about productivity and more about momentum, which I'm like fabulous for someone who's running on all cylinders basically 99% of the day.
Yeah.
And it's essentially before you leave the house, do one thing that future you will benefit from. So empty the dishwasher, put on a load of washing, wiping down the bench, cleaning the bathroom after getting ready, still working on that one, taking something out to like defrost from the freezer. And it's like you don't have to do all of those things. It's just doing one of them.
Yeah.
So before you leave that, when you come in the door, you're like,
so glad I did that.
That's done. Or like even just making your bed in the morning. Like it's the smallest shift from being reactive to proactive. So that way you don't come in and you go, I've got to do that, I've got to do that, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. And you'll get to the end of the week and you kind of come home to a life that's slightly handled. And you're like, good job, whoever was on that shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work, old me.
Literally. And it's like you don't need a full reset. But it's just a little thing because, one, you're also going to get the fabulous little sexy dopamine hit of like doing that one task before you leave. But it's like putting a pretty little note on the door being like, leave the house better, as like a reminder to be like, oh, do you know what? I'll go chuck the dishwasher on quickly. Like whatever it is that takes 5 minutes, if that, you go, oh, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to come in and walk into when you get home. And I saw this like rule or hack, if you will, and it's called the 5-5-5 decluttering rule.
Oh,
I feel like you're going to enjoy this. And it's basically a 25-minute life hack that will change your life. And you set a timer for 5 minutes, focus on 5 different zones or areas like kitchen counter, entryway, junk drawer, bathroom cabinet, bedside table, bookshelf, whatever you want. And then remove 5 items or clean 5 things from each zone. But you've got a total of 25 minutes to just do a little declutter. And over time, the compound interest of that task, you'll end up being like, my house is clean.
Yeah, I like that. That reminds me of something that I've seen online called chore snacking, which is essentially the same concept of breaking up your chores into those micro manageable bites so that you're not leaving an entire deep clean for the weekend every single weekend. It just makes it so much easier to stay on top of it. And I actually saw this article that was published in Stylist, and they were talking about chore snacking with a psychologist.
Ooh.
And she was saying that because you're using short bursts of energy when you're doing chore snacking or like is it the 5-5-5?
Yes.
5-5?
No. 5-5-5-5-5. 5-5-5.
Yeah. Yeah, whether you're doing chore snacking or the 5-5-5 method, you're using those short bursts of energy and you're not relying on like long-term momentum to get stuff done, which is what happens when like, on a Sunday.
The wardrobe clean out and you literally have like one cowboy boot on, a sparkly fedora, and you're reading a letter from a journal that you wrote in your password-locked diary from when you were 11 going, this was good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Being like, someone published this. And like surrounded by coat hangers and like clothes that you're like, fuck.
And you like have pulled everything out and you're like, wow, I had fun looking at everything. Then you got to put it all away and you're like, what have I done?
Yeah, and you're like, I have no motivation to do that.
There's actually a study, I can't remember what it is, but we'll have to put it in the show notes or something. And it is actually the amount of time you have before you lose interest in a declutter.
Oh.
And fuck me, have I not hit that 1 billion times in my life?
I know. I'm surprised we haven't recognized the pattern.
I feel like the 5-5-5 for me, since I'm not a morning person, that's like a when I get home. Like that 25-minute, I have a reminder set at 7 p.m. every day to like do my mini apartment clean, and I just like put things away. Because when I walk in the door, I'm really like a full shed,
Yeah.
shoes off, jacket off, lay on the couch for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you've got to do it.
Yes. And then I have like the little thing being like, do 25-minute clean. And I'm like, easy, done.
Thanks, Schmalexa.
Thanks, Schmalexa. She's a real queen, that one.
Yeah, she is. We owe her so much. So much. She's our PA. Okay, one of my go-to mini glow-ups to make my week better is to pay off my sleep debt.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I just think that like whenever I'm having a bad week or feeling a bit meh, like a good night's sleep is honestly the absolute cure. And I know that seems really, really obvious. So I'd heard about sleep debt before, right? Or like the concept of sleep debt, but I didn't really know what it was or how to calculate it or what it really meant. And then recently, because I wear an Oura ring, they've introduced a new feature in there as part of your sleep analytics that is your sleep debt, and it calculates like what your sleep debt is and puts it in like a chart of like low, moderate, and bad, danger, red zone. But
You're
even
a bad girl.
You're a bad girl. But even if you don't have like a health ring or some sort of tech that tracks your sleep debt for you, there is a way that you can do it yourself. Essentially, you just calculate how much sleep that you need. So usually for most people that would be between like 7 to 9 hours a night. Then multiply that by the period if you're doing it over like 7 days or 2 weeks, if you want to get like an idea of how much sleep you're actually getting. Then at the end of the week or the fortnight, look back on how much you actually slept. So maybe every morning, like write down in a notepad or in your notes app how much sleep you actually got that night. Then you would minus how much sleep you actually got from your goal sleep, and then that's your sleep debt. So for example, like if you want to sleep 9 hours a night, but then you only slept 6, your sleep debt is 3 hours.
Yeah.
So then you know that in the coming days, you need to factor in 3 additional hours of sleep to get on top of it. And so that's what I've been trying to do, even just on the weekends if I can. So if I can see my sleep debt is an hour, then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to make sure I go to bed an hour earlier, or I'm going to set my alarm an hour later to factor that in, and actually being more conscious of that. So yeah, like don't set an alarm, sleep in on weekends, like actually make the time to go to bed early, because around 40% of Australians don't get the adequate amount of sleep that they actually need, which is a lot. And obviously sleep is like such an individual thing, and there's so many different rituals that can help you with your sleep hygiene. But some of the things I feel like has helped me, because that's been like a focus for me this year.
And you're such a sleepy girl. Sal in the mornings is like a real princess pea. That's like, what?
Yeah, I really hate waking up. It doesn't matter how much sleep I get. It's just
the cutest thing in the world.
It's just how I am. But we need to prioritize our sleep in the same way that we do anything else in like our health routine.
Once you start prioritizing it and feeling the benefits of it, I think that makes it easier and easier to get into more and start prioritizing it more. Because like, for example, this year, like I've been sleeping without my phone in my room.
Yeah.
And been like, oh, and I put it on charge. And I've like fallen in and out of it. But oh my God, like the difference it makes actually then keeps it going and keeps that momentum. It's like when the fit people and they go, oh, I didn't actually, when someone who like never used to work out and they like get really into working out and they go, oh, I realized how good it made me feel. And you would get addicted to actually the result of the feeling rather than the action itself. And like that's how you prioritize things that are good for you, such as sleep, is like actually focusing on the fact that, you know, you do feel better during the day. You do feel more alert. You do actually feel happier and less like irritable when you have and prioritize your sleep. And so identifying those things that kind of get you to that result, I do think helps prioritize it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And because the quality and quantity of your sleep is just as important as the consistency. So aiming to have the same routine every single day obviously the sleep debt thing is helpful for those nights when you have had a shit sleep or you haven't gotten enough, and knowing where you need to maybe step it up a little bit to get more, or how you can factor that in. But the goal is to go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day, and to get like an adequate amount in that time.
Yeah. And you don't need to buy a bunch of things for it. We have an
No.
episode that we can link in the show notes about like how to have a good sleep. And you don't need to like buy a bunch of things. And honestly, like you probably don't even need to go and buy a health tracker to get a good sleep. Like listen to your body. And
Exactly.
like, if you feel tired, you go to bed earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop reading your smutty little book on your Kindle. Go to bed. That one's for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but the enemies just became lovers.
Please, just one more chapter.
It's been 300 pages and they just kissed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my next one is a ritual, a beautiful moment that I think every girl listening to this can recognize. And it's the midweek glow up.
Ooh.
It's the midweek glow up, aka the fresh start effect, because your nervous system has been reacting to emails, switching between tasks, processing social interactions, sitting inside on screens under pressure. And like, I will easily get to like midweek and I'll be like, I feel like a frog,
Yeah.
you know? But in my little tappy on my keyboard for the research of this episode, I've discovered the midweek glow up is actually good for your nervous system.
Ooh.
It's good for your health. And so I'm locked in. My motivation is there because I'm with you when we're like, oh, I can't be fucked to have the everything shower and I don't want to shave and do my bake down and wash my hair. I think I whinge about that 72 times a week at least. But the midweek glow up is good for your nervous system because it activates your, and bear with me here, parasympathetic nervous system, which is a division of the autonomic nervous system that acts as the body's rest and digest system. Take a shot every time I just said system, which is like calming it down after stress.
Yeah.
So it's like the
Yeah.
pat your bot, snuggle you in,
Kiss on the forehead.
Yes, that system. So it's activated through certain types of steps in the glow up ritual, like long showers, warm water, slow skincare, and body care. So you're literally activating like calm mode to your body through your midweek glow up.
Yeah, it's like a physical reset.
Yes.
Being like, okay, brain,
Yes.
this is the sign.
It's not about you, brain.
Yeah.
It's not about you, brain. But yeah, literally it's signaling to your brain that we're in calm mode through like warm water, repetitive and gentle actions like shaving, moisturizing, doing your tan, except for when you have to like dislocate your shoulder to get top back bit. Don't worry about
exactly.
that. Won't focus on that bit too much.
That's fine.
But those things in that process, or like washing your hair and putting your fingers in your hair, are all very like calming rituals. And because it uses rhythmic and repetitive actions, that's what calms your brain, because glow ups often also follow a sequence.
Ooh.
Right. It's all coming to get a
The
shower.
night
I've got like the
beforehand.
red string being like, you see?
And the start is like you as a frog, and then
Yeah.
the princess.
Your Majesty, Palo is exhausted.
Yeah.
He took this, and he gave you a princess. Yes, because they follow a sequence, and often it's like, shampoo, condition, exfoliate, shave, tan, whatever it is. And repetitiveness and predictability, those actions are also known to be calming because they reduce uncertainty, give your brain something steady to focus on, and they also interrupt racing thoughts, which is the final piece of this entire puzzle. I'm really taking you on the journey. I was having so much fun when I was reading through all of
You're
this.
like, wow.
I literally was like,
The everything shower isn't
The-
vanity.
you-
It's fixing my brain chemistry.
the everything shower isn't vanity. It's literally fixing your brain
Yeah.
and telling your brain, being like, you are safe.
Yeah.
You are beautiful. But yeah, so it interrupts racing thoughts, similar to things like knitting, walking, or even cleaning. It's because your brain and you yourself remove yourself from your head and put yourself in your body. And so,
Like Grace was saying.
yes, so it's actually this thing called interoception, and it's basically your awareness of your body, and it's strongly linked to emotional regulation because when you shift attention back into your body, your thoughts tend to quiet down naturally. So that's why they do often recommend, like even in therapy and things like that, that if you, are spiraling, if you're having a lot of anxious thoughts, if you're like like that kind of vibe, to have a shower or go for a walk or have a midweek glow up.
Yeah.
Because also, not only are you not sad, but you're hot too.
Yeah, it's a
and
win-win.
that I'm signed up for. Happy and hot. Oh, fabulous. Give me 24 of them. I want all of that. And also, then it just was reminding me of that fact that we love, that you are 20% hotter to everyone else. Like everyone else sees you 20% hotter than you think you are, which I was like, so imagine you do your midweek glow up and you're like, that's good work for me. Add 20% hot GST to that. And then even on the days that you're like, fuck, bit rough, you're still 20% hotter than how rough you think you are.
The hot tax.
Yeah, the hot tax, but like you don't pay it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just hot.
You're just reaping the dividends.
Yes. And I don't want to hear any shit about how life's not about being hot. When you look good, you feel good, and that's all that is.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
why 90% of the
it's not
episode is
all
about
about
glow-ups
that.
for inside.
It's not all about that, but come on. Don't lie to me. You know when you look good, you walking out, kicking a door off its hinges.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know if that was English then.
I
But
understood it.
how, like, are you like, I'm going to go home, I'm going to wash my hair, do my tan, and I'm going to wear something that I really like tomorrow.
Yeah, because the midweek, like everything
It's an
shower,
art form.
it feels like a chore, but we need to reframe it as a ritual.
Yes.
Because when I do it, I'm like, okay, I've got the shampoo in and then I'm shaving my legs really quickly and then I'm like doing my cleanse at the same time while I'm washing my conditioner out. And it's like, bitch, slow down. Like,
Put on an audio book. Put on Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You'll fall asleep in the shower.
yeah, exactly.
But like, put on a TV show or something. Like, really lean into the ritual of it and the relaxing nature of it. Yeah, sometimes we're going to be like, oh, I can't be bothered. Don't worry. No one's standing there going, no, go get hot right now. You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow, this makes sense. And you never regret it. You never wake up in the morning going, oh, no, I washed my hair and fake tanned and
Exactly.
moisturized and boo-hoo.
Yeah, it's another.
You wake up and you're like, good job, bitch. Good job. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Yeah, it's another example of things that future you thank you for. And you're
Seriously.
like, God, I'm glad I did that.
Yes. So
Yeah, I like that. It kind of relates to my next mini glow up. They're like beauty glow ups for instant results.
Oh.
So,
Cheat code.
obviously, there's a lot of skincare products and things out there that truly will work their magic over weeks and months. But when you're feeling a bit meh on a Wednesday morning, I don't want to hear that.
I want
Makeover moment.
makeover montage, 2000s rom-com, Mia the
Princess. Princess of Genovia.
Princess
Glow up.
of Genovia.
That I can do on a Wednesday morning that isn't going to take me forever.
Yeah.
This is going to look different for everybody, but some easy go-tos that I will do when I'm feeling a bit in the morning is depuffing the eye area.
Oh, yeah.
So like eye patches that I put in the fridge or the like globes that you can run over your eyes or even just using spoons. Like that's what I used to do in my early 20s. I'd like, if I knew that I'd had like a late night or something, I'd just like chuck a couple of spoons in the freezer and then in the morning.
Feeling the feeling of it on my eyes. They also have these things called hangover masks
Yeah.
that you can get on like Amazon.
They're
And you
really
put them
good.
in the freezer, and then they're like a sleeve, and they're like a mask, but it doesn't freeze. It just goes really cool.
Really cool.
And then you put it over your face, and it feels so good.
Yeah, it feels so good and it constricts the blood vessels around your eyes, which can help reduce the signs of like dark circles or puffiness. And it is just like a splash of cold water on your face and instantly wakes you up. So I like to put those on in the morning after I've done my skincare and like while I'm doing my hair.
Yeah.
And it like slowly wakes me up. Using a body oil or shimmer.
Oh,
I love that we're getting the shimmers back.
Bring it back.
Because we should be moisturizing our bodies every single morning anyway. But I love that
Did
there's
you moisturize your body this morning?
Yeah. I didn't use a body shimmer though because I was basically head to toe, but yeah, I did.
Pop quiz.
If I'm showing more of the
Pop
décolletage,
quiz.
then I'd be using an oil.
I did a top half fake tan. That's what I did.
Oh, clever.
I said, well, I'm wearing jeans, so I'm not going to worry about that.
That's also another one. Just doing the top half and like hands fake tan.
A top half, we're good to go.
No one needs to see.
No one's going to know.
They can use their imagination.
Exactly.
Of what's
Or
going
don't.
on. Or don't. Or don't.
Or don't.
But I do really love using a body oil or one with a shimmer in it. And there are so many out there. Like, it's definitely a trending product at the moment.
Do you know what I'm really getting into at the moment? Body milks.
Oh, yeah.
So we've seen, the milky toners that are trending and going all over TikTok, whether it's the Road one, whether it's the Bubble one, there's heaps. I am loving using a milky toner, but it's just a body milk, and you can get whatever brand you like. There's the one that I'm using at the moment is the one from Bang & Body, but you can use it on your face and your body.
Life hack.
Because it's formulated with your face in mind first, but I just use it everywhere. But I'd probably, moving forward, get one that's for body that's maybe like a bigger tub, so it's a little bit more cost efficient.
Yeah.
But I love it because it soaks in so quickly, whereas with moisturizer, I'm like, get in.
Yeah.
Like, hurry up.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm loving it. And I've always loved a body oil, especially in the shower.
Yeah, totally. Also, face masks that focus on hydration. So we spoke about the Bioma one, but I also love like the Loop hydration masks and the skin control one that went viral. Like, if you do want something that you're going to wear overnight or for like 3 hours in the evening, that one is really good because I do feel like all three of those products, I do see my skin looking visibly more hydrated. And I'm like, I want the dopamine hit of like, it worked.
It worked.
I'm beautiful.
Nobody will recognize me.
Yeah, exactly. And also tending to your eyebrows.
Oh, yes.
Like, whatever that is for you, if it's like
I love
lamination.
waxing my eyebrows at home now. I love it. I have a little pot. I just put it on the stove.
Love.
I just give him a good old
A whip crack with his whip
satisfying.
tail.
Yes, and the
Exactly.
beast was
Was
done.
done. It's the brows.
Yeah.
The brows of the beast.
Do you know what I love? What is not a weekly one, but dermaplaning. And I might
I've
get
never
in
done
trouble
it.
because I know some people say you shouldn't do that to yourself, but I always use like a clean blade.
Yeah.
And always also be careful because it's sharp and have cut myself a couple of times. But yeah, I love, because I'm Italian. I've a fair amount more peach fuzz than you do. So, and it's also just a whatever you prefer. Personal pref, right? But my makeup sits so fucking good when I dermaplane my skin. It's insane. Like, I can absolutely tell the difference.
Yeah.
Every single time. And
Yeah.
It's 10 out of 10. And it also exfoliates your skin. So when you dermaplane, not only does it kind of get rid of the peach fuzz, but it, gets rid of the dead layer of skin cells as well. So that's also why your skin looks so glowy. But make sure you do your research, watch your tutorial, and do not come for me if anything bad happens.
Yeah, exactly. Disclaimer.
This is not financial beauty advice.
Yeah. But like I said, all of these things are really, really personal, like dermaplaning, for example. But like, you love doing like a lip tint, for example, or like your lashes. So like, just knowing what those things are and making them like quick and easy, so that you're like, okay, I know that probably at some point in the middle of the week, I'm like, God, I can't be fucked. But even if I don't put any makeup on, I always brush up my eyebrows. It's just like one thing I always do, and it instantly makes me feel better.
Mine's like a spritz of a face tan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the Eco face tan in like a little spray bottle, and I just spritz my face in that, and I'm like, okay, I don't look like a sick Victorian child anymore. We're back. We are so back.
We are so back. Sometimes we need a quick fix.
Quick fix. Slut for a quick fix.
Yeah.
And I've always said that.
Put that shit on a shirt.
Put that shit on a shirt.
Yeah.
I love a placebo.
We do.
I love a placebo. Okay, my final one is very quick. But, and we did discuss this earlier in the year, but it's basically my friendly reminder to put into your mini glow up routine, and it's to source good news. So dedicate 10 minutes, per day if you can, to just making sure you also focus on the good in the world. There is a lot going on, And it is very, very easy to get news burnout and to think, oh my God, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I feel you, but have time put aside to help prevent you going down rabbit holes and getting caught in a doom scroll trap, because social media platforms and algorithms prioritize negative and scare content. Like they prioritize that stuff. That's what goes viral. That's what is trending. And a lot of news outlets will even just write clickbaity articles like that because you're more likely to click on it. If you're like, oh my God, is the world ending? I should probably know about that. So all of these articles have that tone to them when really that's not the case for that scenario, you know?
Yeah.
And so by really intentionally trying to find good news in your day or in your week, if you can, it really does help you kind of just keep moving, keep tracking. I'm not saying you need to bury your head in the sand at all, but you do need to have a balance of the news that you're getting and making sure that you get it from reputable sources and not just on social media. You can sign up to newsletters, you know, also buying some fun magazines. Like,
love a mag.
love a mag.
Love flipping through a mag.
Love flipping through a mag.
I'm going to buy a magazine.
I'm going to buy a magazine.
Should we go buy a magazine?
Yeah, there's a new agency across the road. I'm going to get Zoo.
Yes. Yes.
I'm kidding.
Yes. I'm going to buy that, like, what was it? Like,
Nobody that's not in Australia, everyone in Australia will know it. That's basically Playboy, the bogan version of Playboy magazine.
it's a bit of me.
We love a mag.
Bring back the nudie mag.
Bring back the nudie mag.
But also I want like a total girl
yeah.
as well. Might pick up like a Frankie mag. Let's see. We'll have a browse.
You're
We'll
so
have a browse.
indie.
I know.
I'm a Dolly girl.
Yeah, I love Dolly, girlfriend. Love it all. Bring it back. No, I completely agree with that. We can put a link to some of our like go-to sources of good news in the show notes so you chicks can have some inspo on where to start.
Yeah, ABC News has a section on their website for good news. There's a good news app, which is a non-profit based app that shares stories about positive developments. There's also on social media on Instagram, Good Co, which are really good. And the Daily Oz has also started rolling out a good news that happened this week. And it's got a little rhino on the front slide of it that I do enjoy. That might have just been that one. Maybe there was a rhino story.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy seeing him.
Yeah, I did.
So, you know.
Yeah, I love that. Because we're also like 3 to 4 months into the year. We're getting into it. I think some of the sparkle of New Year, New Me has, you know, worn off a little bit.
Yeah.
And we did ask you chicks like how you were feeling. Like we're a quarter of the way into the year. How's everyone going?
How you going, chick?
Mental health check, mental health check. And only 15% of you chicks said you were thriving. And the majority of you chicks did say that you were getting by. So I think everybody's, the majority of us are doing okay. But I do hope that this episode can help you introduce some of those rituals for having some more joy in your week and things that like you don't have to completely rehaul your life, because we're not promoting like toxic positivity here, but it's like whether you're going through a rough time or you're just feeling weighed down by what's going on in the world, like we need to make time for that, whether it is the news cycle or just the work week or something rough does happen in your life. Like we're all going to go through bad times, but it's so much easier to get through it if we've been prioritizing the good around some of those shitty times as well.
1000%.
So we wanted to wrap the episode by asking you chicks the things that you do for your own mini glow ups during the week. Quite a few of you said Pilates, makeup and skincare.
Someone has said once a month I do the full body ritual, but the key is a full bottle of wine in the shower. Can I come?
Wow.
Is that inappropriate? Would you feel comfortable if I joined you? That is amazing, but also be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you've got one of those grippy pads on the bottom of your shower or your bath. So you're not like, whoa.
Okay, next one is like having a coffee before the kids wake up.
Or us, our boyfriends and cats.
Yes.
Reading books instead of doom scrolling. Obviously love that.
Beach walks and dancing in the kitchen keep me sane. Love that.
Oh, that's so cute. Deleting all social media off my phone for a week.
Ooh. Slay. and 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Love
I think
that.
a lot of these, it's so like, you know, we have moving your body, journaling, touching grass, washing my hair. And it's so key into me time and just prioritizing the time that you're spending with yourself. Every single one of these is a solo act that is your mini glow up of the week, that it's basically just prioritizing yourself and enjoying spending time with yourself. And like, how often are you actually doing that? Because when we polled you chicks, majority of women spend less than 30 minutes a day on me time, which, call me selfish, but that is not enough.
No.
I need at least 2 hours about me minimum, not including anyone else.
Yeah.
I need to spend like 2 hours by myself.
Your
Like,
life is your life, and you're only
know.
spending 30 minutes or less of your day on you.
And I get people have kids. That's like a different story. That's a different story.
Of course.
Put their bedtime earlier. Hear me out. If they go to bed at like 3 p.m., you've got the whole night to just enjoy yourself. Well, chicks, that is a wrap for today's episode of Two Broke Chicks. Thank you so much for having us in your ear holes. We love to be here, and we'll catch you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday.
Bye.
Love you.